Alright, hey guys, welcome to Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao, and in this session, we are going to check out Python for machine learning. Now, both Python and machine learning are some of the most top-rated, domains or solutions to the real-world problems that we have today. And from this session, we're going to take away a good amount of theoretical knowledge, and of course, we are going to be checking out all of these things practically as well. So, welcome to you all from wherever you guys are tuning in from. Here, it's a very sunny afternoon in Bengaluru. And guys, before we go ahead and begin with the session, can you guys head to the chat box and quickly type in a yes or a no if you can see me fine, if you can hear me fine as well, guys. So quickly head to the chat box and just put down a confirmation so we can go ahead and begin with the session, right? And guys, while you all go on to do that, I want to take this time to tell you that I'm monitoring all of your questions, all of your comments, whatever you guys are putting in the chat box using my mobile phone. So this way, whatever questions you have, no matter how simple it is, please make sure to head to the chat box and do ask them. I'll be more than happy to help you all out with any sort of questions you might have, right? Okay, so I do have a couple of yeses here. Ram Kumar says yes. So guys, I hope everything is fine from our side. Without further ado, we can get started with this session. Now, before we jump into the agenda of the session, I want to take a minute of your time to guide you about this wonderful venture we have here at Great Learning called as Great Learning Academy. Now, Great Learning Academy, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you is a place that you guys definitely should check out regardless of where you are in your career. You might be in school, you might be in college, you're about to graduate, you have graduated and you're looking for a job, you're looking for a domain switch as well. So wherever you are, we have something here at Great Learning Academy. It's a fantastic place to be. Great Learning Academy caters for somewhere around 700,000 learners from 140 different countries, literally everywhere around the globe. We provide 1,000 plus hours of free learning content. Of course, we get 3 million monthly views on our channel. So guys, here if you're taking a look at Great Learning Academy, we have a wonderful program called as Career Plus. Here you get to prepare and crack your dream jobs as well. Now you can see, as a fresher, we understand that there's a lot of things that you guys will have to work on to make sure you get your first job. Having a structured platform that provides everything for you to get from to take you from being a beginner all the way to having your first job is something what we aim here at Career Plus as well, so you can make full use out of that. And as always, since we're talking about career paths, I think it is very important for all of you all to understand the various career paths that are out there, right? You can see multiple domains: data science, AI, machine learning, cloud computing, and a lot more. Let me quickly click on machine learning since we're talking about machine learning here. Now here you can see there is multiple options even in the career path of machine learning itself. So the most common one definitely is the machine learning engineer's role, and as soon as I click on that, it'll just ask me to quickly sign up. So you guys will have to provide your email ID. You guys have to sign up, and once you guys go on to sign up, you will be presented with courses, free courses. You can get to see a lot of details about the machine learning engineers. In fact, let me quickly go on to let me just sign in. In fact, I have an account here. Let me quickly sign in. I'm going to get a quick OTP to my email ID. Let me quickly go on to access the OTP for you all. Okay, so there's no OTP, it's signed. Okay, perfect. So guys, now click on machine learning engineer. As you can see, there's 18,000 plus active jobs right now. The average salary is over 10 lakhs per annum, and we have 3.5 lakh learners enrolled into all of these job ready programs. We have 8,000 plus career transitions, 48% average salary hike, and we have multiple programs that cater to your career path in machine learning, right? You can find out all about what people are saying about these PG programs and specializations, but then definitely to get to all of that, you can start your journey by becoming a machine learning engineer by picking up one of these, or in fact all of these free courses here. So all of these courses are again completely free to get started with. Let me click on one. I'll show you. So it shows you that there's 2 hours worth of content. You have a quiz to solve. It's a very well rated course, and you can see that almost 20,000 learners have picked up and started with this particular program, right? You can get to find out all the skills that are covered. the course syllabus, and of course at the end of it you can see a wonderful certificate of completion. Right now, this certificate of completion is going to add an immense amount of value to your learning, and of course guys, to your resume. Right, so this is just one course among 200 plus courses you can access absolutely free of cost. So guys, make sure you guys are checking out Great Learning Academy. We have all these courses taught by subject matter experts across multiple different languages as well. You can reach the Great Learning app either via our website, or of course you can download the Great Learning app. It's available both for the Apple App Store and of course for the Google Play Store as well. Perfect, guys. Now with that, we can get back to our session. For everyone who has tuned in now, guys, welcome to this particular session. With this session, we aim to go on to provide you a good amount of information when it comes to machine learning, when it comes to how you guys can understand that, hey, Python and machine learning are these two concepts which are very closely knit to each other, because Python provides fantastic libraries, easy syntax, a lot of different reasons that we're going to check out, right? Perfect. Now guys, before we go ahead and begin with the session, do take a second to subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel and hit that bell icon, because every time you guys subscribe and hit that bell, as soon as we put out a video, for example live session such as this, you guys will be the first ones in the entire world to get noticed, right? So you'll get a notification saying, hey, Great Learning is live, and this is how you guys can join us, ask all of your questions, talk to us about anything and everything, and get our help with your career, right? Perfect, guys. Now, coming to the session takeaways, the agenda for this particular session, we'll start out by quickly understanding why we require Python and why you guys have to learn Python. Now, machine learning can be achieved in many ways. Python is, of course, the most popular reason there. We'll understand why that is. Now, after that, you'll definitely be curious about some of the skills that might be needed to go on to crack your machine learning applications using Python. 3 or 4 very important skills I'm going to cover here. These are very, very important. It's not like you can go on to learn it and start doing it. This definitely comes with experience, so make sure you guys are staying for that. And after this, we'll actually get started with machine learning. We'll quickly take a look at all the important libraries we require for machine learning. And in fact, ladies and gentlemen, we will practically go on to implement 2 fantastic supervised learning algorithms using Python. We'll take the same data set, run it using 2 different algorithms to see how you can have the same data churned through multiple different algorithms by creating many models, right? So we're going to check that out practically, and of course at the end of the session we are going to check out the salary trends of a machine learning engineer as well, right guys? Perfect. Now before we go on to begin why you guys have to learn Python, let us quickly start with the did you know. I think the first point here, every one of you all will know, right? So Python is one of the world's most popular programming language out there, and we've had multiple sessions on this where we have discussed why Python is as amazing as it portrays to be, right? So there are many important reasons. In fact, we'll cover 1 or 2 of that as well. And now during COVID-19, I think us watching TV shows, us watching movies and all of that has picked up a lot, right? If you look at the trends, there's a lot more people who are using Netflix right now, a lot more people subscribing to Amazon Prime, whatever it is. Now, all of these TV shows, right, when I say TV shows, I mean the streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon, they make use of Python in a very extensive way. Half the things that you probably, of course, you'll not see Python code when you're watching a TV show, but the things that make it tick, the things that make it work, all are based on Python itself. How cool is that? You have very front-end systems all the way to extremely complex AI-powered solutions that Netflix uses for sure. They have an amazing application with respect to using AI there. And for all the people who are wondering about how Python got its name, in case if you guys don't know, it's not because of Python the snake, it's because of a TV show called as Monty's Python Circus. The founder of Python, Guido van Rossum, named it because Monty's Python Circus was his favorite TV show, and he just wanted to give it tribute to it, right? And now no wonder a lot of these platforms that give us TV shows make use of Python. How cool is this, right? It's pretty well rounded when you think about it that way. And of course, it should come as no surprise to all of you all that Python is extremely popular for data science. It's used by I definitely would want to say it is used by all the companies across the globe, or like 99% of it, because Python is required in one way or another. If you take a look at it, if there's a company who's using Python, either they can be doing it in the most minor fashion, maybe to connect a couple of APIs and all of that, but if they're extensively making use of it, there is a good chance there's some web development there is a good chance there's some data science there. Even if none of these are there, well, at the end of the day, they still have a million other applications they can go on to use with Python, right? That's an important thing. Quickly, to cover the last point here, ladies and gentlemen, Python has one of the highest paying programming jobs out there right now, and it comes with a constant demand. As you can go on to check in Great Learning Academy, as I showed you, it will show you the active number of jobs right now in India, and definitely you can find out the active number of jobs elsewhere as well. Now I'm going to talk about this in detail when we get to the salary trends section, so make sure you guys are sticking around for that, right? Perfect, guys. Now with this, it becomes very important for us to understand why you guys should consider learning Python. Now, machine learning, as I told you, can be done with many programming languages. Why should you learn Python? First of all, I think it's because of Python's popularity that you guys definitely should consider learning Python. I'll tell you this, whenever you go on to search on any platform about which is the most popular programming language out there, literally the two names that gets thrown around everywhere is either Java or it's Python. Now, there was a point in time where Java was definitely the world's most popular programming language, but then Python came steaming about, and right now I think the trends are fantastic. Python is portrayed to be on the top step. Python is portrayed to be the top programming language in the world for the next 10 years. Now, trying to forecast the next 10 years, it's a huge challenge, right? Try forecasting the next 10 days in the world of IT. It's difficult. But when people are saying, hey, for the next 10 years, Python is going to be the standard for all data science, web development, and all of these applications, I think it is such a strong, it gives you such a strong sense of, working, that Python has this amazing trend. The world is using it. So this definitely is the right time for all of you all to consider learning Python, because at the end of the day, the future is considered to be artificial intelligence. Machine learning is a way to achieve artificial intelligence, and at the end of the day, to get to machine learning, we all have Python, right? Perfect, guys. This is point number one. Coming to point number two. Point number two, I think, is the more important one when we consider scalability in terms of machine learning. I'll tell you why. The first point you'll see on your screen says interpreted language. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you head to the comment section and you let me know what an interpreted programming language is. Now, while you guys do that, let me give you a quick explanation about what it is. Now, see, a programming language can either run using a compiler, or it can be run in an interpreted fashion. Usually, languages such as C, C++ are compiler-based languages. So, in a compiler-based languages, if there is one or two errors in your, in your syntax, in your logic, or whatever it is, there is a good chance the program will never execute until all the errors have been cleared, or it will not compile, right? This can be a huge task when you're working with a really big project. This is where Python is extremely, it's the handsome guy in the block here. I'll tell you why. In the case of an interpreted language, you do not require compilation. The process of compilation is not required. Every single line of code from line number 1 to maybe line number 100 is executed by those lines. So if you have an error in line number 99, everything will run fine until 99, and there Python will give you a nice looking error, right? With that, coming to point number two, the errors in Python really are very cute, if I have to say, to look at when you compare it to other programming languages. See, in a programming language like C or C++, it will give you an error. It is almost like it is commanding you to fix something. But what I have felt with working with multiple 5 or 6 programming languages all my career, I definitely believe Python gives you these errors which are like very nice to read, and it's sort of relaxing. It is not throwing an error on your face and expecting you to fix it, but it's sort of telling you, hey, here is the error, why don't you go and fix it? It's asking you really nicely, how that's funny, but I've heard this from a lot of developers, and I share the same views as well. It has really easy syntax, and Python is built in mind keeping a very important thing, scalability. Today, you're building an application that will help 10 people. What if tomorrow the same application gets really popular and you have 10 lakh people coming in? You have to have a framework that is so strong that it has to handle 10 people as well as 10,000 people, right? It might be 10 lakh people also if your product is very popular. So to keep this entire process dynamic, Python was built by keeping this in their mind as well. So Guido van Rossum thought about dynamism, and this language is built for this purpose, to take your product from being small to being really big, and you not having to worry about your programming language. And at the end of the day, hey, it's open source, it's free. You really don't have to pay anyone anything to go on to use Python. That is the best part. And of course, at the end of the day, I'm sure you guys already knew these points. But then to check out all of your comments here, guys, as always, I want all of you all to head to the comment section. I want to have a very interactive session here. You guys are keeping it very interactive. Kashyap Pandu, Yash Shinde, Rishi Kumar Tiwari, Srinath, thank you so much for all of your comments. Keep it coming, guys. Let's have a discussion right now. Some of you mentioned these points about why Python is popular, and here are some of the things. First of all, it has a huge library. It has it has hundreds, if not thousands of libraries that you can use to solve any problem. Us Python developers have a common saying here. It's mostly like, hey, if you have a problem and you want to solve it with Python, there is a library that will help you solve your problem in a very easy fashion, right? Now, this is a fantastic thing to know, because at the end of the day, knowing that Python can be used to solve something in an easy way where you don't have to break your head about syntax, you can work on logic, you can focus on what is required rather than, very tough syntax and all of that, right? That is the huge advantage here. You are welcomed into a community, let me just go back, sorry. You are welcomed into a community, which spans thousands, if not millions of Python users out there. Since this is open source, all of them are contributing to even help Python become a better programming language. And it's not just helping Python become a better programming language. At the end of the day, the community is really welcoming, and I believe that everyone out here watching this particular session, right? Each and every one of you, I am confident that you guys will be welcomed into the Python community in a very nice way. There are, you can be a beginner and ask the most basic questions. Everyone here is more than happy to help you out. No one will probably laugh at you, or no one will go on to demean you just because you have asked a very simple question. No, even the most fundamental errors that you ask in all of these forums out there, understand that there are other beginners like you who will also make use out of it. So it's really a community which grows together and stays together that way, right? Perfect. The third and fourth point is pretty simple. The syntax of Python is just like English. Guys, if you know English, you can know Python. I'm going to show you all of this practically as we finish this theoretical section on machine learning. You guys will understand, even though you may be a person who does not know anything about Python syntax, I'll try to explain it to the best of my abilities. There you will get an understanding of, oh, okay, so this is what Python is doing. Even though you do not know the syntax, you can understand what's going on. That is a huge advantage, that not a lot of people talk about in the world of programming. But for you beginners, but for you people who are looking to get started with machine learning and Python, I highly believe that is a bonus, right? Quickly, last point. As a strongly typed programming languages, you do not have to give the data type. You do not have to specify the data type for any variable that you use. If you have used programming languages like C or C++, I am sure you would have written something like int A, float B, right? All of these are data types where A or B is a variable, int and float are data types. You have to specify to C and C++ compiler saying, hey, this is the type of data, I'm going to be filling it in there. Python, absolutely nothing to do. If you can just put A equal to 100, A equal to Anirudh, it is just intelligent enough on its end to understand what is the data that you have given to it. You do not have to specify it every single time. And with data types, I'll tell you honestly, with really big projects, things get absolutely messy. But in the case of Python, you really don't have to break a sweat to think about data types at all. Right now, at the end of the day, trust me, when you guys are working on your projects, that is going to be a huge advantage for all of you all. And of course, the last point on discussion is to make sure that we are using a purpose-built programming languages, and Python is one of these languages that was built keeping machine learning in mind. Now, machine learning is a process of us having to teach machines to do things on their own without our effort, right? Python is a programming language that will take this entire process and really make it very simple to go on to use. You will see as and when I go on to show you all of these practically. But then, hey guys, before we go on to check things practically, I think it is really important for you all to understand what are the skills that are needed for learning Python in terms of the aspects of machine learning, right? Perfect. So, guys, now in the case of skills that are needed, I'll not tell you all these skills which you can go on to find in a lot of different places. Here are some of the skills that is very much required, but people do not talk about this, and I believe that it is extremely important for you all to know this, right? The first point here is having a data-oriented approach when you're approaching a machine learning problem itself. With machine learning, there is a lot of data that goes into working, and you sometimes have to work with the data on your own in terms of pre-processing, in terms of doing a quick exploratory data analysis or whatever it is. So you should have an interest. First of all, you should have an interest to understand what is going on with the data, and knowing that, hey, if I look at an Excel sheet which has 100,000 rows and columns of data, I might not find anything there. But if I feed it to a machine learning algorithm and ask it to see if it can give me any hidden trends, if it can give me something, give me insights about the data, and if you're a person who's excited to go on to do it, definitely Python machine learning is for you. Because guys, this is a very important skill. This is not a skill that you can go on the internet and learn. This is an interest that you guys should have, and developing this will give you like a shortcut to whenever you guys are working with large amounts of data sets. You will know what pattern to look at, you will know what features to look at, what target variable. You can just find out a ton of things with practice. So point number one is very important. Then talking about point number two, out of the box thinking. Right, I'll give you a very silly example for this. If I have an ice cream store or an ice cream parlor probably 1 kilometer away from my place, I can definitely take multiple routes to get there, right? The most sane, the most proper way to get there is to find the shortest distance of 1 kilometer from my place to the ice cream parlor and walk there, go in my vehicle, whatever it is. Now, what is the most insane way you can get to that same ice cream parlor? I'll go to the airport, I'll take a flight to Delhi. From Delhi, I'll fly back to Bangalore. From Bangalore airport, I'll go to the ice cream shop. Now, I probably did a 1,500 to 2,000 kilometer round trip, or I think in fact even more, just to get to an ice cream shop which is 1 kilometer away. I'll tell you what. It sounds really stupid, I'll agree with you, but at the end of the day, there is something between the 1 kilometer run and all the way to taking 3,000 kilometers to get to the same ice cream shop. It's not only one way that you will ever have to go to the ice cream shop. There's many ways that you can take. This kind of a thinking, at least the thinking is required for machine learning, especially if you're working with Python. Knowing that you can solve one problem in multiple different ways is a skill. It's a huge asset which will not only help you land your first job, but at the end of the day, even in your job, it's going to help you to solve problems really, really fast, right? The third thing is logic building skills. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you're thinking about logic building, you guys head to the comment section now. You tell me, don't you think that it is very important for a programmer to spend more time on figuring out better logic, making the program more efficient rather than breaking your head on syntax? Don't you think this is important? Guys, head to the comment section and let me know. Right now, while you guys go on to do that, we'll discuss the fourth point. The fourth point is the ability to scale up quick. We've already discussed this. This is a skill that Python can do really well. Python can scale up amazingly well. But here we're talking about not Python skills, but your skills. So here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to ascertain a position where we have the ability to solve a very simple problem and also solve a really complex problem without us having to, do a lot of messy things. So this kind of a thing definitely comes with experience, but this is a skill that you guys have to develop. Whenever you're programming anything, and even when you're solving a simple problem, always think about this. Hey, today this problem is simple. What if the same problem is on a very large scale? How can I solve that? When you start answering these questions, when you start writing code to answer these questions, that is the moment. I'll tell you this very frankly. That is the moment you'll go from being a really good developer to becoming a great developer. That's the difference, being good and being great. Knowing that you have this kind of a thought process with all of these skills. Ladies and gentlemen, these skills have definitely helped me a lot in my career. I in fact ran these skills with all of the friends that I have in the Python community, and they believe that these are extremely important and that people don't think about these enough. So I thought for all of you all that it is extremely important for you guys to know this. It sounds very simple. It is very simple. You guys will already know this, but hey, this is required, right guys? Perfect. Now, with this, we can quickly go on to check a bit of machine learning. We can take a look at a couple of algorithms. We can practically start implementing it as well, right? Now, machine learning. I think machine learning is the most important step that you take before you hit the world of artificial intelligence, or even, let's say, even in the world of data science, right? It's a very, very important aspect here. Why is machine learning so important? Now, I think machine learning is really, really important here because it is taking on the manual load that humans would have to do. It is making us free, and at the end of the day, it is taking in a large amount of data. It has the ability to learn and understand what is present in that data. It can think on its own, and at the end of the day, it can give you an output in a fraction of a second sometimes that would take probably days, weeks, or even months for a human being to do. Right? It's such a fascinating thing knowing that sometimes as soon as you look at your phone or your computer, I think it is very easy to get fooled thinking that your computer is the most intelligent entity in the entire world, probably because it is very fast, it runs amazing games and all of that, right? Well, no. Your computer at its most fundamental level can understand only zeros and ones. You can think, your computer cannot think for you. But with machine learning, we are trying to bridge that gap, and we are trying to get our machine to think for us. At the end of the day, yes, it is not to a level of what human conscious is, but it is definitely making machines a little more human-like. Whatever we can do manually, we're getting our machines to do, and our machines are figuring things out on its own. This is the fantastic world of machine learning, and this governs billions and billions of, in fact, trillions of dollars worth of companies today. And machine learning is integrated everywhere, no matter where you look at it. Open up your phone. How do you think Gmail thinks that a message is a spam, or if it contains something scammy, dubious links, viruses? How does it know that it has to take that email and put it into the spam folder? Again, machine learning. How do you think Netflix starts recommending TV shows based on what you watch? Again, machine learning. Even at the very simple level of you going on YouTube to watch something, on the right top it will show you watch this video next, or it will give you a recommendation saying people who watched this also watch that. How does YouTube know this? Guess what? Machine learning, right? It's integrated everywhere. Hey Google, hey Alexa, hey Siri. Machine learning is the core functionality everywhere here. Right? Perfect. Now guys, to quickly give you a brief about how machine learning itself works, I think we have to talk about the three types of learning that happens in the case of machine learning, right? So when you just say machine learning and I'm teaching machines, it becomes very ambiguous, the definition itself. But to give you all a good amount of clarity about what's going on here, I think it's very important for us to quickly discuss the three types of machine learning algorithms out there: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and, ladies and gentlemen, reinforcement learning. Now, supervised learning. Supervised learning is really easy. It's really simple. I will not get into any of the mathematical or statistical details out here, but I'll give you a very simple example. Look at these three images on your screen right now. You'll see flowers, you'll see dumbbells, and you'll see some fancy looking car here, right? So when you have to teach your machine learning algorithm something, when you have to teach it, train it, you have to give it some sort of data. And as soon as you look at the data, probably in your school days, pre-nursery, kindergarten days, you realized what a flower looks like, you know what a dumbbell looks like, and you have probably seen millions of cars around you so that you can know what car it is, right? I'm sure you guys can guess what model of car this is as well, right? It definitely looks like an Audi TT in my opinion. But see, I did that. But my machine learning algorithms, when it sees this, it has absolutely no clue what is going on. It doesn't know that this is a flower. It doesn't know that this is a dumbbell. It doesn't know that this is a car, right? Now, if I put in another photo of a flower, then it'll absolutely not know that as well, because we are trained, the machine isn't. So to train it, in the case of supervised learning, we provide the data for the machine to learn alongside labels. I am specifically giving it maybe 100 images of flowers, and I'm telling it, hey, each of these is a flower, so treat it like a flower. I'm not like, be delicate with it or something, but understand that it's a flower. The same thing, I'll give it a couple of images of dumbbells, and I'll specifically mention a label saying this is a dumbbell. So the machine will have absolutely no confusion later to say, hey, this dumbbell looks like a car, right? So this looks like 4 wheels, so this can be a car. No, to avoid all of those confusions, I give it the label itself. Now, a very important interesting formula that you guys might have seen everywhere is y is equal to f of x. Y is equal to f of x is the foundation of supervised learning. Y is considered to be the output variable here, and what we're trying to do here is we're trying to map a function across an input variable, and once you have an input variable and you run a function upon that, the output you get is considered to be the output variable. As simple as that. Y is equal to f of x is something you might have learned in school, you might have learned in college, but understand this, it drives the world of supervised learning, right? And now we know that machine learning is divided into supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and what else? Reinforcement learning, right? In supervised learning, we have two more divisions. It is regression and classification. Regression, the name itself has a meaning which says, hey, we will try to predict what happens in the future using the data from the past. Now, I'll give you a fantastic example. In your mobile phones, if you say, hey Google, what is the weather like tomorrow? Google is intelligent enough to use machine learning to understand what is the weather prediction for tomorrow and tell you that, right? That is literally you using regression. It will have the data, it will look it up, it will tell you tomorrow it might rain, tomorrow it might be even more hot, right? Something like that. Think about classification. Classification is literally a child's play task, in my opinion. If you give a little kid 2 apples and 3 oranges and ask this kid to classify it based on the fruit or based on the color, the kid can take all the red fruits, put it on the left, call it apples, can take all the orange fruits, put it on the right, call it as oranges. Simple, right? So this is regression and classifications. Teaching your machine to do it is the fun part. The 2 demos that I have planned for you guys, we are going to be using supervised learning for that itself, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Now quickly, unsupervised learning. What is unsupervised learning? In unsupervised learning, what we're trying to do here, the goal is very different from supervised learning. Here we are trying to not directly tell the machine what data it is seeing, but I want the machine to find me a structure that is present in the data. When I say structure, I'll tell you this. Look at the same images on your screen right now, right? Of course, you and me are trained. We know this is a flower, this is a dumbbell, and this is a car. But I am not telling my machine learning algorithm that. I want the machine learning algorithm itself to figure out that, saying, hey, this might look like a car. This might look like a dumbbell. Hey, these look like flowers, right? So I want it to find structure in something that exists and give me the output, right? Guys, you understand here? I am not giving it a flower. I am not telling it that it's a dumbbell. I'm not telling it that it's an Audi. It has to figure it out on its own. And here, instead of just giving us what it is as an output, we are trying to get our machine learning model to give us a structure, give us an understanding of what it thinks the data is. That's the most fun part about unsupervised learning. And as always with unsupervised learning, we have 2 divisions. It gets into clustering and association. Clustering is something very similar. I'll give you an example of the same kid example, right? If you have 2 oranges and if you have 2 watermelons, if I tell you to separate it based upon the round fruits, sometimes watermelons are also round. Surprisingly, yesterday itself I saw a watermelon which was absolutely round. I mean, I was I was very confused, but it was an actual watermelon which was round, right? So if I give it to a kid and say, can you separate all the round fruits, it'll keep all the apples in one place, and it can keep all the watermelons, oranges, and all these in one place because it was all round, right? So the characteristic in discussion here is its shape, roundness. That's clustering. Next is association. Association is something that I bet you guys have used in your life. Either if you have ever come on YouTube, which you definitely are when you're watching this video, or whenever you've gone on Netflix, Amazon Prime, or anything, after you watch an episode of something, after you watch a movie, right next thing it will give you a recommendation saying people who have watched this movie or TV show also watched that. It will usually be a same genre. If you're watching a documentary, the next one will also be recommending you a documentary. If you're watching a thriller, kind of a first movie or something, the second one is usually that. It will not recommend you comedy or something because it knows that you're in the mood for a thriller movie or something like that. How does that work? Association. Simple, right? Perfect. The next thing we're going to quickly check out is reinforcement learning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, reinforcement learning is something which you guys have used for sure if you have had a pet in your house. Now, this is a method of learning which trains based upon the feedback that the machine gets. I'll tell you what. if you've ever had a pet dog or a pet cat, this works really well for a dog. Your cat might scratch you in the face, and I'm not responsible for that. The thing is, whenever you've seen a person train your dog, they'll usually go and ask for a handshake. If the dog gives the handshake, the dog will get a quick biscuit or a small treat or something like that. This is something you would have seen, right? Now, in the perspective of the dog, if it gives a handshake, which it is supposed to, that is the goal. If the dog gives a handshake, it knows that, hey, I will get a little biscuit, so let me give a handshake. But what if you are asking your dog for a handshake and the dog runs away and it doesn't give you anything? Well, you are not giving it a biscuit because it ran away, right? It didn't give you the handshake. The same thing happens in a machine learning model as well. Your machine learning model will understand that it has to work towards the rewards. It has a way to track itself learning. So if it goes towards the rewards, just like a dog, here we will assign a mathematical function and a number where we are giving it a little treat. We are giving it an accuracy score and asking it to increase its accuracy all the time. If it tries to run away, as in terms, if I show the machine learning model a cat and it says, no, this is a dog, it is identifying it wrong, I say, hey, no, I will punish you. But real world punishments, absolutely no, guys. Of course, make sure you guys are treating all of your pets fine. I'm sure everyone here, will not be abusing pets. Please don't if you are, right? So the hypothetical example is, in the case of machine learning, we are not hurting the machine learning model. We are it's almost like an exam that you take. If you scored a 10, if you have a wrong answer, what can happen? You can get a 9, right? Exactly what we're doing here as well. In the real world, of course, you try to go to the dog, you pet it again, you ask for a handshake and all of that. But here we cannot go on to keep petting the reinforcement learning algorithm because it will just be lazy and it won't do its thing. So to make sure it learns rapidly, we say, hey, this is the goal, I want you to get there, and every time you go closer to it, I'll give you a reward. So your job is to make sure the rewards are high, and if you ever deviate, I will start taking the rewards away so that you have to work towards the rewards no matter what. That is reinforcement learning. So I hope we understood supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning, and all of it probably in the last 10 minutes, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure every one of you all, who are watching this are really fascinated by the world of machine learning. I can tell from your comments. Rohini says, thank you so much for tuning in, Rohini. I hope you're having fun in this session. Nikita Patil says, great session. Kaship Pandu says, recommends all. Thank you so much, everyone. It's all of your kind words that keeps the channel going. And Pudalino Kakalat, I'm really sorry if I've spelled that wrong. You say this is getting interesting. Of course, we're still getting started, ladies and gentlemen, because the next part here is when we actually get to look at two important algorithms and to use them practically in the case of Python. We're going to be checking out two fantastic supervised learning algorithms. It is linear regression and KNN algorithm, right? Perfect. But before we go on to do that, I want to talk to you guys about some amazing libraries that we have here. Let us quickly run through this. I will not cover anything to a huge amount of detail here because I'm sure you guys are excited for the demo. But right now it is important for you also to know about the programming packages and libraries that are out there. Right, now let us talk about the first part of machine learning, where you have to bring in the data, store it in a way where your machine learning model understands. You have to keep it structured, break it down into array structures. All of these things can be done by this fantastic library called NumPy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, have you used NumPy and pandas in your life? NumPy is very popular for multidimensional array creation and working, and pandas gives us two beautiful data structures called as series and data frames. With series and data frames, it becomes very, very, very easy to take a ton of data and to store it in a very simple structured manner that we can go on to use, work with, do a lot of statistical computation, and of course numerical computation as well. NumPy and pandas, even though they are not the direct libraries that are needed for machine learning, without these it becomes extremely difficult to achieve machine learning. The next thing is the same, right? So you have TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Scikit-learn. TensorFlow and PyTorch are mostly used for deep learning. Deep learning is again another subset of machine learning. TensorFlow is developed by the people at Google. PyTorch is developed by the people at Facebook. So these two are top libraries for machine learning and deep learning. But then when you look at Scikit-learn, the library to your right here, right? This is a fantastic library. Every one of you all who will learn Python in terms of machine learning will use Scikit-learn. it is the foundation. Without scikit-learn, there is no machine learning to do it, at least in an easy way, in Python. So scikit-learn literally is the heart of machine learning for a beginner who will go on to use machine learning. Even I don't want to just say a beginner, even if you are the most expert 10-15 years Python developer, 10-15 years of experience as a Python developer, you will still come back to scikit-learn, and in one part of your machine learning program, scikit-learn will be required no matter what. That is how important scikit-learn is. After scikit-learn, we have come to a place where we know how to import the data, we know how to apply machine learning algorithms to it and create a model. But model data cannot be understood by non-technical people. So for you to explain what's happening with your model to a non-technical audience, you usually go on to use data visualization libraries like matplotlib, seaborn, and other fantastic libraries which will help you take a lot of textual data, the output of your machine learning, right? A lot of textual data, and convert it into beautiful looking graphs and dashboards. And you tell me, if you had a chance to take a look at a Excel workbook which has 10,000 rows of data, or I can give you 3 or 4 beautiful looking graphs which will give you the exact answer you need, which will you pick? I am sure all of you told the graph, right? That's the huge advantage of matplotlib and seaborn, guys. Perfect. As we discussed, now we're going to take a look at two fantastic algorithms, linear regression, and we can go on to check KNN algorithm, right? The first algorithm that we are going to take is linear regression. Okay, let me quickly look at the comments. Yes, Arpita Malik says graphs, Plotly too. Yes, Plotly is a fantastic part. It comes under these other domains. In fact, seaborn is also an addition to already existing matplotlib's functionality. There's a lot about data visualization as well that we can talk about for hours together. Right, guys? To talk about linear regression really quick, we already understood what regression is, right? So imagine that example where I told you that you will have to predict the future of the weather tomorrow. As soon as you say, hey Google, what's tomorrow's weather? Google is using the concept of regression itself. It is trying to predict tomorrow's weather using a lot of other things such as last year's weather, today's weather, tomorrow's weather. It can think about all the cyclones that are going around the country. It can map and say, hey, tomorrow it will rain. Right? That is regression. But why is regression so popular? Well, it is used to find these cause-effect relationships everywhere around the world, right? You can just find out, hey, what is the weather tomorrow? It will tell you the weather. It is not as simple as just saying, hey, what is the weather tomorrow? If you are a person who owns a company, you can ask a question saying, hey, what can be my profit next quarter if this is the profit this quarter? You can literally ask a question like that to your machine learning algorithm. The model will be intelligent enough to give you an answer saying, hey, so last month you made this amount of profit, and I think next month with the same trend you will make this amount of profit. How amazing is that, right? That is literally the reason regression is the most common algorithm that you guys have to learn, because it is used everywhere, right? Perfect. Now we're going to implement a simple linear regression model by making use of a fantastic dataset called as a Boston housing dataset. Now with Boston housing dataset, let me tell you one fantastic thing. Whenever, I'm sure you guys are in this position as well, how do you know the price of your home, right? There is a lot of things that will govern the price of your home. The area that you're living in, how big is your house, how many cars you can park in your house, right? So is it only just a villa, a duplex, a triplex house? It consists of 10 bedrooms, it's an apartment. So all the prices depend on so many things, even the crime rate in that particular area, right? So if you go into a couple of areas where the crime rate is really high, the house prices are really low because people will not want to buy into those localities, right? So it is not just your house size or shape that matters, the furniture that you have used, the quality of construction that's done. Literally, people think about so many minute things when they try to value their houses, and you will know all of this. Similarly, we're going to take all the data from couple of in a locality in Boston to see if our machine learning algorithm can correctly predict the price that is mentioned there. So we are trying to get our machine learning model to go on to tell us if it can understand the price there, right? Now guys, I've come into my Google Colab workspace here. Google Colab is basically a simple Jupyter notebook that is hosted on the Google Cloud platform. It is a very simple thing to run. You do not have to download anything, install anything, pay anyone anything. It runs free on the Google Cloud platform. I just have to type in the code and hit play, and it is done, right? Now let me zoom zoom in a little so you guys can understand what's going on. So I hope it should be visible to all of you all now. Perfect. Guys, whenever we are working with any sort of data set, whenever we are trying to solve any sort of practical problem with machine learning, the first step is always to make sure you guys import all the libraries that you have to use later on, right? We already discussed NumPy, we already discussed pandas. We know that Scikit-learn is a very important part of it, right? So these 3 lines we are talking about importing our packages and libraries. The next 3 lines we are concerned with bringing in our data set, importing our data set, because right now the data set is sitting in my hard disk. This is running on a cloud platform, so I have to upload it. Let me actually show you a small error. If I go on to run this right now, it will not know where my data set is. Look at the line it highlighted. It says hey, it literally says that hey, there is no such file or directory. It is telling me that I don't understand where it is. So let me click on the file icon on the left, click on the upload button. If I go to my desktop, I have the data set here. Let me go on to upload the data set, and you can see this little yellow circle that is spinning here. As soon as it's complete spinning, which it did right now, the data set is ready. Now what would I do? Let me run this again. It should work absolutely fine now. See, the data set is ready. As I told you, there are so many columns here that will tell you about how your house is priced. Crime, CRIM, talks about the crime rate. Then you have so many things. You have the age of the house. Age of the house is something important we didn't talk, right? Your house might be brand new. It was just constructed and you're selling it. Well, it will give you a lot more money than a house that was built 25 years ago, right? There's a lot of things you have to consider. Distance to the nearest hospital, distance to the school, distance to a supermarket. What is the amount of tax that you're going to have to pay for the house, right? So there are so many columns here that we're going to consider for analyzing the price here. And with the dot head function, we have just printed that out. This is step number 1. Step number 2 is us actually finding out if there's any empty values there in that list, right? If there are certain empty values, I'll tell you this, your machine learning algorithm is very it's not intelligent enough that it will get confused and it will start seeing if a data point is empty, your machine learning algorithm gets confused. Most of the time, yes, it gets confused, so we have to find it out. So with the is na and dot sum function, we're trying to find out if any of the rows of data is empty. If it is empty, how many of them are empty? Thankfully, all of our data is absolutely filled up. Our data set does not go on to require any sort of pre-processing here, right? Perfect. The next thing after you know that your data is correct is a simple thing. What do? You feed it into your machine learning algorithm, right? But an important way that you have to know how machine learning works is you split the data into testing and training. Training data, you actually give it to the machine learning algorithm so that it can use it to train, and testing data is something you later show the machine learning model to see if it has learned something or not. The example here is very simple. It is literally like you using your textbook or anything else to learn for an exam and then keeping all of that away and actually go on to write the exam, right? Now, if you were having your textbook right next to you when you were writing an exam, it wouldn't be called as an exam anymore, right? Because you can copy literally everything and you can get 100 out of 100. That is not the point. We are trying to see if our machine learning algorithm is intelligent so that it learns on its own and we have something brand new to test it on. That is where we are splitting the data into two things, testing and training. In this particular case, if you can see the train test split function here, I have a parameter here that says test train, the test size is equal to 0.3. Now what I mean by this is I want 30% of the data to be removed from our data set, keep it separately for testing. If I remove 30% out of 100%, how much is remaining? 70%. So I'm sending 70% for model training, right? As soon as I run this, now my data is split into two. 30% of it is somewhere else. Our machine learning algorithms won't touch that 30% unless it is trained and we use it for verifying. The next thing, now this is where I find machine learning really fancy, guys. Everything we have done is preparing our data for machine learning. Right now, with these three lines of code, building your model, training your model, and performing predictions. Out of all the lines of code, these three literally teach your machine learning algorithm everything it has to learn. 3 simple lines of code. It will hardly take you 2 minutes to type these 3 lines. Now, for everyone who have, who are watching this particular video and you guys want to think about how difficult machine learning is, I hope with this you understand that it's extremely simple if you do it in a structured fashion. Now, as soon as I run this, our machine learning algorithm has used linear regression. It has become a machine learning model now. As you can see, to teach it and to train it, I have given it the training data set. But then to test it to see if it can predict something correctly, I have not given it the training data set. I have given it the testing data set here, right? So at this moment of time, my machine learning algorithm is ready. If I just go on to print what is the error rate for machine learning, I am using a concept called as MSE or mean squared error here. Let us not get into the complete detail of it, but our goal whenever you're training a machine learning algorithm is to bring your error values and minimize it as much as possible. An error of 5.5 is actually okay for this particular use case. Now the fantastic thing you guys should be very interested about is how the same data set can work in the case of KNN algorithm, right? So let me quickly explain to you what KNN algorithm is, so we can check out the data set and we can wind up this session. But then before we wind up the session as well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a look at the salary trends right after this one, so make sure you stick around. Perfect. For the KNN algorithm demo, an important thing that you guys have to understand here is it is literally as what it says. KNN stands for K nearest neighbor. Whenever you're trying to map data and have a structure to it, you always find a relationship to the other nearby data point, right? So that is what we're doing here in KNN in a very simple fashion to tell you about. Now, if you have to go to your friend's house, again, you can take multiple routes to get there, but you will prefer usually the shortest way or the way which has less traffic or something like that, right? Even you are using KNN algorithm in your real life, but now we get our machines to go on to do it. So here data is compared with every point nearest to it, so it understands what that data itself is. That way it learns, it understands, right? Perfect. Now to give you a very simple theoretical example, think of these particular kids that we have. We want to try to see if our machine learning model can predict if the person is either a male or a female or not, and we want to use KNN to do this. But instead of showing it images and asking it if it's a male or a female, I am going to give it the height and the weight of a person. Now I'm going to do this. This is the data that I already know. I have a couple of height and weight details about, think of it as kids, or even the data looks like it is of adults, right? So all of these adults are there. Some of them are male, some of them are female, and I have this data and I give it to my KNN algorithm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people's data are already there. So if I have to plot a simple curve to show you that there are 7 people's worth data here, you can already see here that in the legend here, right? All the green circles you see, these are 4 guys based on their height and weight. If you mark them in a graph, this is where they're put. Now, if you look at the females who have been marked here as well with triangles, as soon as you look at it, what is the first thing you can guess? In this particular scenario, not talking about the real world, in this scenario, you can see that in our data, the guys have a bit taller in terms of height and they weigh a little bit more in terms of girls as well, right? In this data. Now, we already have 7 people's data. I want to give it one more person, and I will not tell if this person is a male or a female. I'm going to say, algorithm, you figure it out. I'm just going to give you weight of 100 kgs and a height of 190 centimeters. And now as soon as I go on to plot it in the graph, look at this. This is where the particular height and weight of the person would be. Now again, if you take a simple look at it, does it look like it's a part of the male club here or the part of the female club here? What does it look like? It looks like it could be a male. You cannot be 100% confident as soon as you look at it, so you have to get your machine learning algorithm to map something. Now, in the concept of KNN, the K, literally the K that you see here is actually a value. It can be from 1 to infinite, right? So if we put K equal to 3, what we're saying is, hey, there is a new data member among us. Find me the nearest neighbors out there. So if you try to map straight lines to the nearest neighbors, you can see all the nearest neighbors, all the 3 nearest neighbors here are whom? They are guys, they are males, right? But now if I say, hey, I want to map the same thing, but with 5 different data points now, here you can see that 4 data points mapped are guys here. Those are the nearest ones, and there's one more that is a girl here. Now, at this moment in time, I can confidently tell you that the data point that I've added is that of a male. It is a guy because I have 4 data points telling me it's a guy and 1 data point telling me it's a girl. So I can assume that it's a guy, right? Simple. But we checked out K equal to 3, we checked out K equal to 5. An important thing that we have to understand here is why only odd number of values for K, right? it is a very good practice that we take k odd values, because it sometimes happens that whenever we use only two classes for comparison. In this case, what are our two classes, ladies and gentlemen? It is male and it is female. We're not taking anything else into consideration in this example. So whenever we have this kind of a binary classification, male, female, 0, 1, true, false, all of these concepts, a k value which is odd always works the best, right? Perfect. Now let me quickly go on to head to our Google Colab, and let us quickly run through the data set and show you how it works, right? This was exactly the same thing that we saw on the linear regression, the exact same thing. There is no change in this particular code. As soon as I run this, you have already seen the data set. It is perfect, right? And the next thing we checked is to double check if there's any empty values or NA and not a number values. Again, it wasn't there in the previous one. It isn't there here too. The next set of data is also something that you guys have checked out already. As soon as I run this, what happens? The data gets split into 70% for training, 30% for testing, right? Perfect. Now look at these three lines of code. These three lines of code is where we are making use of the KNN algorithm. Remember that example where I told you that I have put k equal to 3 and k equal to 5 and all of that? If you look at the attribute here that I'm sending, the parameter to the function, it says 3. This is literally me telling the KNN algorithm that, hey, I want you to use a value of k and I want it to be 3, right? As soon as I go on to run this, guess what? At the end of the day, your model has already trained. With this particular line, it has seen the training data. With the last line, we have also performed predictions based on the testing data, right? So 3 lines again. Your machine learning algorithm is ready. But then we do have to do one or two things here. There's another concept called as hyperparameter tuning, where we go on to try to find what is the best value of k here. Right now, I have gone on to print until 50, basically k equal to 1 all the way to k equal to 49. But if I have to quickly look at the left side value and find out what is the lowest, it'll either be 2, 3 or 4. See, for k equal to 2, the value is 7.15. For k equal to 3, it's 7.01. Yes, this is lower. I want this. But then for k equal to 4, it is 7.004. So k equal to 4 is the best value that I can use for my machine learning algorithm here. Why? Because the error rate is the lowest for it, right? Now I'm sure I want to use k equal to, I want to go on to use k equal to 4 there. Now, as soon as I run this, it will tell me that the error for my KNN is 0.14. Why 0.14? I've used k equal to 3 here. If I use k equal to 4, it will give me 7.00. Now that part of it is fine. 7 point something error is okay. But if I go on to open linear regression that we learned, you remember we got an output of somewhere around 5.5 as the error rate. So ladies and gentlemen, you now tell me, if you have a model which on the same data set, if I have to use linear regression, or on the exact same data set, if I have to use a KNN, which should I use? I should use the one which gives me the lowest error value. And in this case, for the Boston housing data set, if you use linear regression and KNN, linear regression is more efficient and it will give you a lower error rate. How fantastic was this demo that we just took a look at, right? Of course, we really didn't go into the depths of what the syntaxes mean and all of that, but I'm sure even you guys who might not know Python itself had a good understanding of what it is, right? That is the entire objective of the session, guys, to show you that you can build wonderful things with respect to Python. And look at your screen right now. This is a section that I'm sure you guys have been waiting for a while now. This is a question I always get. So if I'm looking towards becoming a machine learning engineer, what are the salary trends I can expect? Well, the salary trends are absolutely amazing. As an associate machine learning developer or an engineer, you can start off with somewhere around 6 to 10 lakhs per annum. With 1 or 2 years of experience, you can go all the way from 11 lakhs per annum in India, of course, all the way to 20 lakhs per annum. And as a lead project developer, you can go from 22 lakhs per annum all the way to 30, 35, 40 lakhs per annum in India. And in the US, the salary starts at somewhere around $70,000, goes all the way to 180, 200,000 dollars. Now all of this numbers is achievable by everyone that is watching this particular video. I know people, freshers who are into machine learning as a designated machine learning engineer, who are making 12, 13 lakhs per annum at the start itself. It doesn't have to be that you will have to get only 6, only 7. No, right now during the COVID-19 pandemic, like everyone is again hiring on a large scale. If you have seen, right, I'm sure you guys have seen it. This is where you have the opportunity to ask for a good enough salary, and if the person believes that you will add that much of impact, you will get the salary. You might walk into a job which is ready to pay you 7 lakhs per annum, but if they know that you are a candidate who is very well who knows this domain in and out, you can be offered 13, 14, double of what you walked in for as well. Understand that this is a domain where that is possible as well, right guys? Perfect. Now, an important thing that I want to discuss with you guys is I always get this question saying, "Hey Anirudh, okay, wonderful, we know what it is, we have got a quick introduction to all of it, but if we have to learn further, what can we do?" My advice for all of you all, if you're looking to learn this further, is to make sure you guys are taking it slow, taking it easy. As you saw, I covered a lot of things in this last 1 hour. I hope you guys followed through everything. But is this 1 hour enough to make you a machine learning expert? Absolutely not, right? So you can go on to use any sort of learning material out there. I'm not saying you have to stick to Great Learning, but I'll give you a huge amount of advantages if you are in the Great Learning ecosystem. First of all, with Great Learning Academy, you guys will get fantastic courses where you guys can learn for free and get a certificate of completion absolutely free of cost as well. And if you're a part of the Great Learning YouTube channel and the Great Learning blogs, you always have a chance to interact with us experts whenever we take this session, right? Now guys, you only scroll through the comment section. It is such a wonderful comment section where you guys are just typing in everything that you guys feel, and I absolutely love it, right? You guys are telling me what it is that you want to know. You guys want to ask many questions, and I'm absolutely happy to do all of these things. But you have to understand one important thing here. It is not just two people talking here. You guys are talking to a subject matter expert who knows the in and out of machine learning. And the second part, which will help you a lot, is that we know how the industry works. We've been a part of the industry for a while now, so I can align your learning. In fact, it's not just me, it's everyone here at Great Learning. We can align your learning exactly with what is required in the industry. So as soon as you finish learning and as soon as you are right for as soon as you start hunting for your job, your requirements there is a good chance it will match everything that you have learned. But a common thing is that you might have seen that something you might have learned in college might not be directly usable in a job. That is what we are trying to bridge here with all the content we're giving you here at Great Learning, guys. We want to make sure that you guys get the highest quality learning material available. So that is our goal here, and with this I want to make sure that all of you all are using the best possible material out there as well. Now, all the free content that you get is a definite good place to get started. It'll take you from being a beginner to an intermediate user. But if you guys have to go from being a thorough beginner, a complete beginner, and you have a goal in mind, you say, hey, I want to become an expert in machine learning, you guys definitely should look at the machine learning specializations that are out there. Let me quickly take you to the Great Learning website and take you to our career transformation programs out here. Here, as you can see, if I click on Explore Programs, and if I go into data science, business analytics, AI, machine learning, we have a fantastic program. In fact, as you saw, we have multiple programs. This is a fantastic program. This is a PG program done in collaboration with University of Texas at Austin, Texas McCombs University. This is one of the top universities in the world out there. This is a 6 months course, and here you will learn everything there is to know about Python, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, and a lot more. You'll get to work on 12 plus industry level projects, and you will have personalized interactions with your mentors. You have dedicated career assistants, career fairs, and the best part is the statistics. There is an average hike of somewhere around 48-50%, and you can get access to our 400 plus hiring partners as well. You get 2 certificates, one from University of Texas at Austin that looks like this, beautiful certificate. We have another one from Great Lakes Executive Learning. Imagine having 2 certificates which will tell you that you have completed a postgraduate program in artificial intelligence and machine learning. How amazing is that, right? So you can find out a lot of these details about whatever you're going to learn. Curriculum, you can see, right? You will literally find an in-depth curriculum. This is just the things that you will learn. This is not exactly what those things are. And if I keep scrolling and if I keep showing you guys, there is so much that you guys will have to learn, and it is a fantastic thing. The learning experience of an AI and machine learning course, if I could do it again, there are some things that you wish you'd want to do again, right? For example, watching your favorite movie or TV show for the first time. For me, it is machine learning. The first time I was fascinated into the world of machine learning. Now I think about it, I definitely want to go back and I know all of these concepts which probably you see on your screen right now, but it would be really nice to think about it in a different way and learn it from scratch again, because it is something that I love to do, and I'm sure you guys will love it equally as well. But knowing that you have access to such very well put structured curriculum for your learning is a huge advantage, guys. You will be working on multiple hands-on projects and a final capstone project which you'll be doing under the expertise of the industry level experts out there. You will get resume building assistance, mock interviews, 1:1 mentorship, career fairs, and a PG certificate from University of Texas at Austin and Great Lakes as well. So you'll be learning a lot of languages and tools: Python, NumPy, Keras, TensorFlow, Matplotlib, Scikit-learn. You see, whatever we spoke about is exactly what you guys will get to learn, and a lot more. You can take a look at all the details of the industry level projects. You have datasets from Uber, Netflix, Amazon. This is what is being done in the real life out there, and this is what you will be taught to do as well. So as soon as you finish this particular program, you are ready to have a fantastic jobs. All the people who will be teaching you across the faculties, these guys are some of the most some of the most intelligent, experienced top practitioners across the globe out there right now, and you have beautiful mentors who can help you guide you throughout the way. You have a lot of advantages about joining the program. You have the GL Accelerate program. Here is a fantastic career support program that you can use to go on to be a part of our exclusive recruitment drives, curated jobs. You can have access to interview preparation material, career mentorship, and a lot more, guys. You can find out a lot of the people who have had career transitions as well. You can find out a ton of information on this particular page. You can download all of these if you click the download brochure button. But then yes, since this is a paid program, the fees is definitely very nominal when you consider all the amount of learning and literally the postgraduate certificate you guys are getting out there. It's not just the certificate, it's how you guys are taught. It's this entire ecosystem that makes it worth your time and effort, right? Perfect. This is a 12-month program giving you access to 225 plus hours of learning. You will get access to GL Accelerate, individual doubt solving sessions, 30 plus practical projects, and a lot more. There's a simple application process and a lot of other details that I want you guys to head to the website and see for yourself, right? Now at the end of it, there is a simple section where you guys have to put in your name, email, your mobile number, and your work experience. And guess what? With this, you will have an expert giving you a call. So we'll make sure that someone from the admission office gives you a call. You can talk to them regarding if this program fits you well. You can ask any sort of questions. They are the experts who will guide you towards which program you should consider for your career goal. You can talk about jobs, you can talk about trends, you can talk about what it is that you learn in this program, and any detail that you guys want. So make sure you guys are filling up this particular sheet in the end with all of your details. Right, guys? Perfect. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have come to the end of this 1 hour session on machine learning for Python. I hope you guys have had a lot of learning with this. We took a look at why we have to learn Python. We understood the important skills that are needed to learn Python out there. And not only that, we had a start to understand what machine learning is, what are the types of learning. I gave you some fantastic simple examples, real life examples that you guys have used these learning algorithms on your own in your head, and now you're teaching your machine to do it. The next thing, we practically checked out linear regression and the KNN algorithm. We discussed the machine learning engineer's salary, and of course at the end, I definitely guided you on a way of how you guys can go from being a beginner to a thorough expert in machine learning. Right, guys? Perfect. Now, guys, I can give you 2 minutes of my time. If you have any more questions, please head to the comment section. I can go on to help you out there. Right? Perfect. Abhishek Panda says, is this complete Python? Well, Abhishek, we checked out a good amount of Python required for machine learning. If you're looking forward to learning Python completely, I highly suggest you take a look at the Python full course that we have on the channel, right? Perfect. Telugu Tech Tutorial says, it's a humble request. I want to create an application where I will do it. Well, Telugu Tech Tutorials, I highly suggest you get started with Great Learning Academy. Head to Great Learning Academy, take a look at some of the machine learning courses there, enroll into those courses. You can understand it theoretically, and you will be taught about it practically, and you will also get a certificate of completion there, right? Make sure you head to Great Learning Academy, Telugu Tech Tutorials. Perfect. Sujay Nigel says, thank you, sir, in caps. Sujay, thank you so much for your kind words. I hope you had a fun session learning about all of these things today. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important thing to talk to you about is we have a lot of people watching this particular session. I want you all to take a second to hit that like button if you really liked everything that you saw on your screen right now, right? It is going to help us grow as a channel. It is an amazing thing to know that you guys are supporting the channel, and an important thing for us here is we know that you will want more sessions just like this one, right? So guys, do take a second, hit that like button, and while you're liking the video, it is just a mouse click away to subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel for more fantastic tutorials, live sessions such as this. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the Great Learning YouTube channel. And ladies and gentlemen, a very important thing that I want to talk to you about is the COVID-19 pandemic is still on. The pandemic has not ended. Please make sure you guys are wearing all of your masks, taking all the required safety measures, and since you are working at home, learning from home, make sure you guys have the largest impact on your knowledge right now, because at the end of the day, when COVID-19 ends that day, trust me, the market is just gonna go on a huge upswing. Already you can see thousands of people who are asking for expert Python developers, machine learning experts, any other domain as well. There's a lot of jobs being created, and you can apply to a job sitting in India, maybe for a job in the USA right now, because they are accepting applications around the world. Everyone is working from home, and I think it's going to be a new normal. So you guys have the chance to send your resumes out literally to the entire world. But then to do that, you guys have to go on to learn all of these skills, and to learn all of those skills, Great Learning Academy is a fantastic place. You guys can get started with it, right guys? Perfect. Guys, do not spam the comment section. I'll just pick up one question and I'm going to end this session, right? I'm a student from commerce background, very little coding background. Would it be worth it? Well, Trevor, I understand your curiosity. Thank you so much for putting down the message. Yes, even though you're from a non-technical background, I think if you just follow through the structured learning materials, and if you have an interest and a passion to go on to do this, you can become an expert as well. Pudilino Cacalat said, you talk so fast. Thank you for the session, Pudilino. Thank you so much. Yes, I do speak a little fast as well. I definitely try to slow down for all of these sessions. So guys, on that note, thank you all so much for wherever you're tuning in from. I really hope you have a fantastic day ahead, right? So I hope this session was of great information for you all. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, stay safe. Goodbye guys. Cheers.